Major Music.
All right, what's up? Back with another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's your host D Dot, and today we're actually going to be joined by some repeat guests. But these repeat guests actually just worked on a collaboration project, and they're going to be Soma 79 and Anthony Church. And they're going to be coming on talking about their latest project. It's an album called Zero for the Day, which came out in 2025 actually. But I noticed they've been also pushing this single titled Dreams of Owning an LED Switch. And Soma, I kind of like his style. It reminds me a little bit of like a Eminem or Lil Dicky, and I don't say that necessarily because he's a white guy, but I think of his delivery when I hear his music. And when it comes to Anthony Church, he has this more like boom bap style production on this project. So we're going to talk about that and more. If this is your first time tuning into the Major Music Lounge, we like to talk to other music creators, kind of like we're going to talk to Anthony Church and Soma 79 today. You can follow me on Instagram at d._major music. Same thing on TikTok and Threads. If you're a music creator interested in getting on this podcast, just hit me up on one of those socials and I'll be sure to get back to you. But always looking to interview like other artists, other producers. We've had on also like music managers. We've had on music production app developers, people that have like experience in film and television as far as like when it comes to publishing. So we've had a lot of guests with some pretty good backgrounds. Even there was one guest who he was on America's Got Talent a while back, but I love hearing these stories. So definitely reach out to me on one of those platforms and I would love to get you on the Major Music Lounge podcast. Now let's go ahead and get into the interview with Soma 79 and Anthony Church. We're back with the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by some guests that have been on the show before, Anthony Church and Soma 79. They're going to talk about their latest release, Dreams, well actually it's going to be Zero for the Day, but the single, Dreams of Owning an OLED Switch. There you got it on camera, you just saw it right there, available on all streaming platforms. Well, first question I'll start off, and actually, this more for like Soma, because Anthony, you've been on a show, actually I think it was last year at some point, twice as well. But Soma, we haven't talked in a while, man. What's good with you?
Everything's good with me, man. I'm just loving life, working on a ton of music. It's just not much. Went to an awesome show last night. I saw Yaya Bay perform out at North Adams. That was incredible and very inspirational. And everything's going well.
Yeah, good to see, man. Definitely been following afar from Dallas down here and seeing what you've been up to, and still seeing you going strong, and I really admire that, and continue. Actually, both of you, I really dug this project. We're gonna definitely get into. Anthony, man, what's been good with you?
Just staying busy on a lot of different projects that are going to be coming out here in the next probably 7 or 8 months. And Soma and I actually are working on another project already, which we'll probably talk about here eventually. But just kind of either going to work or just here at home making a lot of music. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And same thing, we kind of had this conversation on previous episodes, whether it's on my podcast or your podcast, Proven Knowledge Podcast. Go check that out if y'all haven't checked it out yet. But I always see Anthony across just, when I release something, he released something type of thing. And, that's motivation for me as well. And it's good to see you as a fellow music producer and podcaster as well.
Yeah, likewise, man. I think the three of us in general some of the hardest working people that I know. And I'm glad that we are able to do this today to get all three of us on here because this is the first time we've done this, all three of us. So
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely pretty cool, and catch up with y'all. Anytime we catch up, man, is a cool moment. So kind of getting into it. Zero for the day. I actually listened to it this morning while I was at the gym, and I love the production on it. Anthony, you produced the whole entire thing, top to
Mhm.
bottom.
Yeah, whole thing from top to bottom. And this was kind of the first full album that I produced, other than the stuff I did with Jay Trey, who I started with, obviously. This was the first like full project that I've produced for an artist where my name was attached to it. And I was pushing it together with the artist, which is something I want to do more of.
Yeah.
And very exciting opportunity. And I'd obviously let Soma speak more about how he came up with the theme, and the title and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, go right ahead, Soma.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the title comes from this thing that I was thinking about how in high school teachers used to always threaten you with, "I'm going to give you a zero for the day if you act up." And I was like, "Well, what do I get every other day? Like, what are we going to average that against?" And it was just, to me, it was the introduction to empty threats. And in a lot of life, you realize are just empty threats that you can either pay attention to or not pay attention to. And to me, it all goes back to that one where I remember as a kid being like, "This is." This is pretty BS. Like, this is pretty
Yeah,
dumb.
yeah.
It was like, what? So I realized that adults aren't that smart. And now that I've become an adult, I can confirm we're not that smart,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, man. When you said that, that definitely hit close to home. Hearing that teacher tell you, "You're gonna get a zero for the day," and
yeah.
and just listening to it. One of the things that I like about you, and I think I told you this the last time, you have a very like comedic style, but at the same time, you're talking about some real issues. I heard a little bit of everything from politics to maybe like experience you had with women and
Yeah.
just uh, a lot of talking on there. And what was your concept as far as like, and Anthony, I kind of feel you as far as like being able to work with a lot of different, or collaborate rather, with other artists on projects. That's something that I want to start doing as well. But like for example, I'm working with this artist right now out of Detroit by the name of POEGB,
Hmm.
and like when I'm working on beats, sometimes I may make something. I'm kind of like, well, I think this will fit him, type of thing. Now, whenever you're making something, are you kind of like that with Soma? Like, do you make something with him in mind, or maybe do you like send him a pack of beats and you're like, hey, just pick something out of these? Like, how do y'all work together?
Yeah. I'd say it's a little bit of both because for me, a lot of times I'm just making stuff that I feel like making every single day. And then I have it kind of sitting off to the side. Like if I'm not posting it on BeatStars or something, I'm just setting it off to the side. And I'm kind of waiting for the opportunity to send it to the right person. So for Soma stuff, it was the exact same thing. Like I remember, I think he told me the idea for the project, and I started just batching together probably 10 to 15 beats and just putting them to the side. So a lot of them I had already had made for maybe a year or so. They were just
Wow.
sitting there waiting, or they were ideas that were meant for someone else and that person passed on them. So I was just like, well, they'll fit this project. Let me start sending them over. And then from there, once we got the foundation built, some of the songs came later, like while we already started the process. He would tell me like, hey, here's an idea I have. Do you have anything like this? And so I would go and maybe make something or even see if I had something else in the stash ready to go. I try to just stay as prepared as possible. That way, I don't have to create everything from scratch and take more time. I kind of want to be prepared in advance, no matter what project it is. So it was definitely like that for this project too, where I just wanted to come in and give him the right production for what he was trying to speak on with the album. And for me, I wanted to do beats that were definitely more fun, like you said, to match, his style, because he can rap over a lot of different types of production. But
Yeah.
I think this was a good marriage between our two sounds because I go for more, I guess, more serious stuff anyway. But I think it was cool that he was discussing more serious topics within the project to kind of match the style of production. But for me, it was probably more of the more laid back beats that I've done that aren't super serious, even though there are some in there that are. It was kind of a cool thing to be able to blend the two worlds together on this thing and make it what it was. And it was crazy. It ended up being, I think, 13 songs total. And I think we only started with a few, and then it kind of just grew from there. So
Wow.
My
Yeah.
goal is typically that whenever a producer gives me beats, I try to write to every single beat the producer gives
Wow.
me.
Okay.
Because like I just feel like they're the ones that jump out at me right away. And then they're the ones that I kind of see as more of a challenge. And I also like to think of it as, I think every time you get beats from a producer, there's at least one or two of them that have been sitting on the shelf for a while. They're like, maybe this is the time that like it gets
Yeah.
taken. And I always want to
yeah.
give those beats some attention. I never know which ones they are. But like, it's always my goal to write to every single beat that someone sends me for a project. And then, they don't all make it, but you know.
Yeah, yeah, I've been the artists that have worked, like I've worked at another producer by the name of Rook One, and I know like from that standpoint, he's kind of told me sometimes too, like he makes some of the beats with me in mind, and usually when he sends them as well, like I'll get to writing right away, and I'm kind of like that as well. I'll write to pretty much most of what he sends, if not all of what he sends, um, and it's just part of it is like I like to challenge myself to rap over like different types of beats that different from myself, and then also just sometimes I'm looking for a different sound altogether. So that's why I like to work with different producers as well. But I mean, also like from the producer side, like sending beats sometimes. Even for like this project I told you about, like with GB out of Detroit. Sometimes those are beats that could have been sitting for quite some time. In fact, like we did a album a year or an EP a year ago called High Times. We got actually High Times 2 coming soon, but um, some of those beats were on beat tapes that I dropped like 2 or 3 years prior to him releasing that project. So sometimes like I'll make something, and even though they don't fit a concept right then and there, they might fit something later down the line. So and a lot of those, even like sending beats sometimes to other artists that may not use them. Sometimes they'll go back in the stash, and I decide, oh, I think well this other artist might sound better on it. So it's a lot of like working together, with your producer on finding that direction that you want to go. But also, it can be a beautiful thing. I know, like for myself, whenever I hear a new artist rapping over my beats, it's kind of like refreshing for me personally. And even like it sparks some creativity for me. Like I want to produce more for them. Once I hear them rapping over my beats. Now, you mentioned this was the first collab album. Like this is the first time all together that y'all work together.
Yeah. First
Yeah,
time.
this act
Go
yep,
ahead, Soma.
go for it. Well, it came out of actually when I was on his podcast, and I just came up. I told him that I originally had an idea that I wanted to have a producer just send me all the beats in the row that they wanted them in the order, and then I would just write front to back. It didn't end up being that way because the album got longer and longer, and in the end, you end up deciding what's best for the album versus sticking to your original concept, because it matters less and less as time goes on. But yeah, this was and this I think the first song we did I think was the one with Young Hump from Digital Underground.
Oh yeah,
Um
yeah.
yeah, I think that was I think the first song I did with him too, and I ended up doing like about 30 or so with him since then. But yeah, that was kicking off to a great start. I love that song.
Yeah, I was listening, and that now that you say that, like I got that Humpty vibe from one of those joints that was on that album, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, kind of ironic you
Yeah,
said.
He's the dude. So he replaced. So Shock G chose him to replace him in Digital Underground, and he actually played him in the Tupac movie All Eyes on Me.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
he, so in Shock G cast him in that, or helped him get cast in that, and then he was like trained him on what it means to be Humpty, and it's like he's like choose your own name from the Humpty family. So basically, the man who portrays young Hump is not Gregory Jacobs, Shock G's son, but young Hump is the son of Humpty Hump,
Okay.
as the lore and fable is goes, you know. So
Yeah.
It
just
gets
to
very
clarify,
complicated. But
I
yeah,
know
he explained
I've
that to
been
me
there to
last
clarify that
fall,
a bunch of times.
and I had to like really rack my brain around it. I was
I
like, that
know.
does make sense now that you explained it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get
The
it now.
funny thing is, I'm a huge Digital Underground fan. They're the reason I even became a rapper. I saw the No Nose Job video on MTV when I was a kid, and it blew my mind. And I didn't realize for years that Shock G and Humpty were the same person. I was at
Yeah. Yeah.
the Troubadour in LA at a Murs show, and I was at the bar by myself, and I hear this dude macking really hard on these two women. I can recognize the voice. I'm like, "Fuck is that?" I'm looking at him I'm like, I don't know. Then later on, Humpty Hump comes out because he has a song with Murs performing. I'm like, oh my God, that was Shock G, and that's Humpty. And man, it's just to me became one of those things. Like, and I love MF Doom too. I love this idea of like falling behind the mask. Even like as I'm looking at this now, for any wrestling fans, Danhausen, he's
Yeah.
like that sort of character as well.
Shout out to Dan House and
Shout out to
yeah, I
Danhausen.
definitely
Get the monies.
catch a lot of those references in your music as well. Being a fellow wrestling fan myself, and
Yeah.
yeah, man, yeah, man. Now y'all met the first time on your podcast, or like how did this kind of begin?
Yeah, so I
I
reached out to
yeah.
Soma, I think at the end of 2023. I remember it was actually one of the trips I took to Dallas. It was like that week. I think I
Okay,
reached out and I saw his podcast, which was Articulate Ox that he was running at the time. So I inquired about being on that show, and then we made that happen. Again, it might have been before this trip or after this trip, somewhere in there. So this is like November of 23. And then from there, like he said, we got him on my show. And then that's where that zero for the day idea came, and then the discussion started. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I was totally on board with the concept because I was never a fan of school, especially when I was in high school. I was like, I want this to be
Oh
over
yeah.
now.
Me too.
And I was like, I can relate directly to this idea and this concept. So it felt like it was the perfect one for me to be involved in. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where it began. So we've known each other now for like 2.5 years, which is pretty wild.
okay,
And we met in person for the first time in September,
wow,
uh, or October, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we got to do. I was out in there at a conference, and I got to come by Ohio, and we got to shoot a little part of a video together. The title track "Zero for the Day" for that video. We're both in that, which is always better. Like most of my videos make it look like I have no friends. It's just me out there. But yeah, that was so cool, and I'll be out. I haven't told him going to the same conference again this year, so I'll see you there.
Nice, nice.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
run it
yeah.
back.
Yeah, run it back.
You
Well,
know?
What's that like? Cause like I've only met one person that well, outside of someone that I know personally that's been on my podcast, but I've only met one person, and that actually is POEGB. I went out to Detroit twice last year and met him, and we shot a video actually last October in Detroit as well. But that was pretty cool to finally meet somebody that was actually from the podcast. I definitely want to come to your neck of the woods by the both of you. I think
yeah.
you're Ohio, Anthony, and you're in
Yeah.
New
I'm
York,
Western. No, I'm Western Mass.
Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah, Western Mass. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it's always cool to me to meet somebody. I want to start meeting as many people from the podcast. But what was that experience like?
I've met a lot of people. Like like that way. A lot of it is because I grew up in a very small town where nobody had similar interests to me, so I always realized that like the Digital Underground video, Neural Drive, it like beamed in from space to me. I didn't even have cable. I saw it at a friend's house, and like or a parent's friend's house. And so for me, like I always realized if I wanted to find my people, I had to go find them. And I call it like village idiot syndrome. Like I'm a village idiot in my village, so I gotta go to someone else's village to find theirs, and like and find the people that are similar to me. And so for me, it's been natural, and I've learned how to do it better and better. To some degree, the biggest parallel is like online dating because that's how I
Yeah,
met my current girlfriend. It's how I met so many other girlfriends, and like, so there's this weird thing where like the nicest thing about meeting someone you've been friends with for years is they always feel like an online friend until they become a real friend, and then
yeah,
you backfill like 2 years of a relationship, and then it becomes an even stronger friend because it's like you've met this person who you would have been friends with most likely if you met on a bus or whatever, but now you've met in real life, and it kind of makes it real, and then everything else before that feels more real, like in a
yeah,
weird way.
yeah.
So
Yeah. It's interesting too because we had already, again, we did that whole album already and we had been working for over a year and a half at that point. So it was like, I feel good about meeting this person. It's not weird or anything. It's not like you just met and you decided to start working that day. Like we had already been working and like
Sure,
you said,
sure.
we were shooting the music video that day. Like we went on some walking trails, like it's probably like 25 minutes from where
Yeah,
I walking trails I had never even been on. I was like, I didn't even know this was back here, but let's go back here and film this video. And we got all those shots and did all that cool stuff. So it was cool. And I think we talked it up for probably like 2 or 3 hours,
yeah.
and
yeah.
it was pretty cool. So it was just like the timing aligned, and we made it happen. And yeah, hopefully we can do it again. I'm sure if he comes back here this year, we're going to be shooting stuff for the new album that we're working on.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. It's like it almost feels like there's a friendship that isn't forced in a way. Like when you meet that person you were kind of talking with online, and especially like to have the ability to create something together. And for me, like with the internet making the world a lot smaller, it's not necessarily the first time. In fact, now that I think about it, I've met there was another artist that I did a song with from actually my hometown in Louisiana by the name of Altonio. But he and we met for the first time like 2017, I think it was, and we shot a music video as well that time. So that's something I definitely want to do more of, especially kind of like we were talking about earlier, working with more artists on collaboration projects. That's definitely something that I want to do. And the video that y'all shot is
And send
currently
me
out.
some beats. Send me some
Oh,
beats.
I got you, bro. Well, I've been doing this thing where I want to do collaboration projects with people that have appeared on my podcast. So, yeah, we're going to definitely chop it up, man.
All right, sure, let's do it. I always too like I have this whenever someone sends me a beat, and I think you can probably speak to this, is like you sent me all those beats for the next album, and then I sat on them for like a month, and then over the course of like 6 days, I sent you like 18 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it
Like,
comes about pretty quickly once he gets going in the flow state of things. It starts moving along pretty. I'm honestly shocked we're as far into this new one as we are
yeah,
at this
okay.
current point in time. So yeah,
it's
and
like
for me,
we're at the
because
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Okay,
Well, we're at the point now where this is the one thing that's going to be different in the process of this album is I'm actually mixing this album,
yeah,
or at least that's the initial plan. Because the last one, Pillsy mixed, and I want my goal this year is to be able to take a song from beginning to end myself. So I'm now learning Reaper, and I've done some mixing before, but I've never used any modern thing. I've never done it to match modern streaming services. So that's really the only thing holding up the album from being done at this point. I don't even know if I told you, Church. I got Young Hump's verse hook for "What Counts" in the other day. So or
nice.
"Who Counts," whatever. I can't remember the name of that song, but I love that song.
Yeah,
That song is gonna be this song that Young Hump did a hook for me for, like, it feels like my like I Get Around her a little bit from, like, because I that was like the Digital Underground Tupac song. I was trying
Yeah,
to channel a little bit of that on that one, and he drops the best hook on it, and I'm just
Yeah,
like just so happy with that. So, but
I
I'm working
love that
actively
song.
now and trying to mix it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that song. I've replayed it like 5 times since you sent it. So, but what I was going to say earlier is that because I'm working on so many other projects, like my solo stuff and all this other stuff, I'm working on collabs and things like that. The good news is I can kind of kick this project over to him and he's already working on it on his end. And then he'll get back with me on like adjustments, tweaks, additions, things like that. So, for me, I guess it feels faster because I'm caught up in all these other things too. And then when I can come back to this, like, oh, all this progress has already been made on it, the features and all kinds of stuff. So it's been pretty good to be able to work with someone that is on top of it like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah. That's
And
always the
he,
best. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
and he doesn't know this yet, but the difference on this one is going to be too that, like, he's going to have to give more of the final call on whether it's done, because like I can't be objective on my own mixes, whereas I think I kind of more did that on the last one because you were a lot more involved in the mix. So it kind of like, and I even find too, the older I get, the less I really trust my own ear on this shit. It's like, oh, can I swear on this?
yeah, yeah. Go
Okay,
right
cool. The
ahead.
less that I trust my own ear on this
hmm.
stuff. So it's I really appreciate that working with somebody who wants it to be a partnership, because you have to be honest with yourself with what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then like you kind of have people you work with that fill in those blanks. Then by that nature, you get better at those things. So
Yeah, I like the fact, a partnership when you're releasing music together is everything. Especially when you're sending the beats to an artist, and like there's times when I'll send beats to an artist like this, and I don't even have to worry about the project getting done or anything like that.
right.
And they'll send it back to me, and we can agree on how everything sounds in the end, or maybe they need to go back and remix it a little bit better. But I've also had it to where I've sent beats to artists, and for whatever reason it just doesn't get done. Maybe our styles just are kind of different, and we just maybe I make a different type of beat than they're accustomed to rapping over. But like it's still a great thing when you can find that one person that you can kind of feed off of each other's energy, and make something organic, kind of like y'all have done with this release. And y'all got the other one you said you're working on as well. Any kind of like I guess ballpark when you're looking to put this out?
Well, I'm the one holding it up right now. So, I literally just downloaded Reaper the other day and
Okay.
started trying to do. Did I send you those? Yeah, I think I sent you like a rough mix that when I went back and I listened, I was like, yeah, this could still use some more.
Yeah, you made a couple tweaks to it and
Yeah,
sent back a
yeah.
new version. Yep.
So I got to I'm actually got a show in Queens this week that I got to basically divert all my attention to preparing for. But when I get back from that, I get to have mouth surgery. Don't be too jealous.
Oh
And that's when I'm
man.
really going to get into, like, I can't rap for a while, so that's what I'm really going to
Yeah.
get into working on the mixing. So I have a really I think we had mentioned the name of the album. So right now is going to be, it might change, who knows, but Emotional Goblins was the name that we came up with, and I have a real clear picture of like a cover that can be kind of interactive that I'm very excited about. I forgot I did all these drawings, and I was going through my sketchbook the other day. I'm like, oh, I already did have to work for the art on this, which got me very excited. So, I think we'll see what sort of burst of energy comes the next few weeks. But I'd like to get this done in the next couple months to maybe release later in the year.
Sure,
Like to do
sure.
some music videos for it. And
Yeah.
I'm already performing one of the songs that I forget what it's even called. Like, look both ways when we cross the street. And stand for a minute and the cars go beep. It's like I wrote this one. This beat is crazy. Well, it's coming. Or come see me in Queens this week. This Saturday. I'll be performing it, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, plug that for our listeners.
Yeah, New Year, the local in Queens on the 28th of March. I'll be down there with Unagi, who is the man, and Dome Lettuce. And shout outs to Dome Lettuce. He's gonna be on this album too. This is Western Mass's finest. This dude, Dome Lettuce, he's 22, 23, just dropped his like 13th album,
Wow.
and everybody's loving this dude out here. And we've been helping him out with some stuff, and dude's amazing. So glad to have him on the album too. So, but yeah, it's gonna be fun, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, check my man's out this weekend. Um, and Anthony, how's everything been going with the podcast?
Smooth and steady, surprisingly. Just passed 300 episodes. Well,
Okay,
recorded the 300th
congrats.
episode. So it'll be coming out in,
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. It'll be coming out here in a couple weeks, 300th episode. So just same old, trying to do interviews every week and things like that and meeting a lot of cool people. So yeah,
How
it's
long
been
has it been going on now? What, maybe three, 4 years?
almost almost 6 years, if
6
you can
years.
say.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So it
Man,
was around COVID. That's when this whole thing got going. So it's kind of crazy to think it's been that long, but and everyone's like, will it ever end or will you shift to something else? I don't know. I think as long as I enjoy doing it still, I'm gonna keep doing it and just kind of going with what is working. So maybe I'll end it one day. Maybe I'll shift to only doing an episode a month or something like that. But for now, I'm still liking doing the interviews every week and just keeping it going. So
yeah, yeah. And one of the things, it's been about the same amount of time for me, myself. I started in 2020, and here we are 2026. And sometimes like what a lot of people don't understand. It gets a little harder sometimes to continue to reinvent yourself over that time,
yeah,
and just how you want to do some different things. So I commend you on that because I know sometimes like myself, I still do the show obviously, but like what I've went to is more of quality shows rather than
mm,
just putting a show out every week to do it
yeah,
because a lot of there are some guests sometimes that maybe I gotta pull more answers out of them, or we're just not clicking or whatever that is, and to each his own. But like, I think now I would rather good interviews with a lot of substance to them.
yeah.
So that's why I'm being a little more particular as far as what I choose. What else is on deck as far as I know we're just in March about to hit April, but like you got the album that you're working on. Anything else, Anthony?
Yeah, I got two solo albums actually I'm working on. So one's instrumental and the other is a compilation album, which I'm very excited about. It's gonna have a lot of artists on it. Soma is actually on it, and he actually helped me format the artwork for the cassette release for the album.
Okay.
So very excited. He's probably the only one that's seen the cover art and what it looks like.
It's dope looking.
But
Yeah.
no one has heard it, and I'm not gonna let anyone hear it until it
Yeah.
drops. So
I love the track I did for that too. Like that one,
yeah,
like I
I've
had
heard
the
that one.
title in my head and it was sitting there for weeks and I couldn't figure out how to make it work. And then it all just came out at once and I was so happy with it. I forgot about it. And then when I was listening, when I was working on the art, I'd gone back and dug it back up and I was like,
Mm,
oh man, I'm excited about this.
yeah.
So
So
Uh,
those two, and then I got some more collab projects with some local artists here in Ohio I'm working on as well. And then I got this kid named Kai Onyx from Rochester, New York. We're doing a whole album called Ghost of a Star, which I'm
okay.
very excited about. That's almost done. He's working on like the rest of the features and mixing and mastering and stuff like that. But it's technically 3 or 4 albums and a few EPs and all kinds of stuff. So it's organized chaos, but trying to make it work and trying to see what sticks and what doesn't and just have fun with it. So, yep.
That's cool. I'm definitely gonna stay tuned to what you got coming next. What about yourself, Salma?
so actually this Friday, my new single's dropping called Ask Me with myself, Copyright,
Okay,
Ohio's
yeah,
the king
yeah.
of the underground, my man Copyright, Unorthodox from Arizona and produced by Pillsy Beats off my album You're Scaring the Ducks. And then next 417. I was gonna do a 420 drop on this, but that's like Monday or Tuesday, and I was like, yeah, it's not worth it. But 417, very excited about this one. The lead single off "You're Scaring the Ducks," the song "You're Scaring the Ducks," featuring a cavalcade of hip hop and comedy's finest, with myself, produced by Pillsy Beats. We got Elza from Slum Village, who was my favorite MC of all time.
Okay.
Concept from San Antonio, Young Hump from Digital Underground, She Real, who's one of the most amazing female MCs out there. And then, if any comedy fans out there, Doug Benson from Stoner comic Doug Benson from Doug Loves Movies, and I always remember him from Friends when he said, what is it? My mom calls it Bloomies. I don't know why it always made me laugh, but he makes an appearance on the song, taking a massive bong hit and being inside the hook and stuff. So I'm super excited about that one. Can't stop talking about it. But we didn't mention too the video.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Dreams of owning an OLED Switch with Word Burglar. Word Burglar is the man. Like I wish we got an episode with him and Church together at some point, because like he's the nicest human being I've ever met, and he was very supportive of that video, and I don't know, and I really worked hard on that to make it look like an 8-bit video game from back in the day, because I've never actually held a Nintendo Switch before, so I don't really know what they look like. So I don't know. But the secret message of that song, or the hidden secret of that song, is the goal was, that song by Biggie, "The Dreams of Effing and R&B," that song, we were flipping that. Like the idea was to flip that, but make it like okay for kids to listen to.
Yeah.
So we decided to do that version of it, but with video games. And
that's dope. Yeah.
So that's it. But,
that's dope, man.
I was able to break out my old original Xbox and pretend like I was playing something for that video. It was very fun.
That's pretty
you're
cool.
in that one too, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that we're getting you in these videos. I think Pillsy's getting jealous because I sent him a drafted video the other day, and he's like, "Well, I kind of want to be in this one." And I'm like, "All right, I know where that's coming from." So.
Do you shoot your own videos?
Yeah, that's what I went to film school years ago. That's what I really wanted to do, was make music videos. But right as I was graduating, that industry basically dried up, or it just was dying a death. Like I graduated in 2000, so that was like the height of MTV,
Yeah. That's when I graduated high school, 2000, and yeah, man, like I do a little bit of my videos myself. Though the last three, I worked with 3 separate videographers for my last 3 videos, but I try to shoot and edit myself sometimes, because one, I feel like every artist or music creator, generally speaking, should have a understanding of video editing and things like that, whether you're creating content or wanting to just do your own videos or what have you. And then for me personally, sometimes I like to just get and that's part of why I like to work with different videographers, just to get a different perspective on what they see when they listen to this song versus what I see sometimes. And it helps me stay creative when I do my own videos sometimes, and also working with other creators as well. Now, Soma, noticing again, we kind of talked about your wrestling shirt that you have in there. What have you been watching as far as that goes lately?
I've really been watching mostly Raw. I've been watching everything Danhausen does, but I'm also very excited about AAA.
Okay.
I had never really watched AAA from Mexico, and now WWE is now a partner in them. Yeah, and they're airing shows on YouTube, and they have some talent from WWE and stuff. But they're just the most fun shows, and it's just it's smaller than the other stuff, but it's always a ton of fun, and it's a kind of a different speed than WWE. So I'd recommend anybody check out AAA. There's so much great wrestling out now. It's just I'm excited for WrestleMania, I guess. It's
couple of weeks out, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. And actually, I got a podcast that hopefully will be dropping pretty soon called Beats and Beatdowns with my friend 3SK, who's a battle rapper. and who we call Stone Cold Steve Boston. He likes to drop a lot of wrestling bars in his battles.
I got
And
you.
we're doing a podcast where him and I, for every episode, we talk about like a time where hip hop and wrestling intersected, like when John Cena released a rap album. We did an episode on that. We had a friend Aztec on who was around John Cena at the time, was in the studio for part of that
Yeah.
recording. So we try to do stuff like that. So we said we are going to record 5 before we drop them. We're just looking for somebody who knows wrestling and knows ICP, because that's what the 5th episode's about. I don't know anything about ICP, and as I'm dipping my toe in, I'm getting scared, man. I'm getting scared. I don't want to get stoned like Tila Tequila or anything. So we're being careful on that one. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep plugging myself, I guess.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like there's a lot of good shows out there right now, and I'm definitely gonna stay tuned to your podcast as well, especially with WrestleMania coming around, and yeah.
What are you enjoying now?
Lately I've been enjoying AEW a lot.
I'm excited to see Kyle Fletcher. I was a big fan of him when I stopped watching AEW, and I just turned around and noticed he's becoming a big star, and I want to see what he's up to. I love that dude.
I was actually I went to Collision in January, this past January, and then last year I went to the same week. I went to Dynamite on Wednesday night, and then I went to All In on the Saturday afternoon, and that was a hell of a show. And yeah, I wish they would do another event here soon, but we'll see, man. That
show was really long. The All In show was.
It was. We got there.
Texas, right? Yeah.
We got there at 11 o'clock that morning. We didn't leave there till about 7 o'clock that evening.
Yeah. If I knew about that more ahead of time, I probably might have flown down for that, because it sounded like a lot of fun. Like the type of event you kind of WrestleMania now, like. Even if I have the money, I think they're charging too much, and I wouldn't want to support it. And it's just, but like an event like that really sounds like a fun. It sounds like something fun worth traveling to.
Yeah, it was cool, and it didn't cost you a whole month of rent just to go to the event.
I know.
Yeah. And Anthony, man, your Cavaliers, y'all doing pretty good right now, getting ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I honestly don't think they're gonna make it out of the first round this year. Just the way that they've been playing and the injuries and things like that. I just I don't know. And the there's only I think 9 games left. So if they're locked in where they are, they're gonna be playing Toronto, and Toronto swept us already this season, even though it was early in the year. I think people are overlooking them. They're already looking on to the Pistons. They're like, well, if we get to the second round, we play Detroit, what's it gonna look like? And I'm like, well, worry about this first, because you might not even get out of the first round. That's just my opinion. I guess I'm a little pessimistic about it, but it's been a rough year. I mean, they're winning, but they're not winning consistently, and they're very injured. And I like the Harden trade to an extent, but I think that it's been proven that he's not a very good playoff player.
In the playoffs,
so that'll be interesting, but they've been riding the wave, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I just don't have a lot of hope personally with it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I saw them when I went to Detroit the last time. It was the second game of the season, and
that was a blowout, I think.
Yeah, that was a blowout. That was a blowout. We ended up leaving that game kind of early that night, but it was still cool. I never saw Mitchell play at all. That was my first time seeing him play, and it was really impressive. And we split the entire. I think we went 2-2 with you. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup. Depending. Hopefully, Cade can get back with that collapsed lung that he has right now. But yeah, man, I can't wait to the playoffs, and we'll see how things turn out. It's gonna be interesting. I think the East is wide open. More than it's been. In a long time, so we'll see.
Well, I'm a low-key Knicks fan, so you can rely on us to not get too much in the way.
Oh yeah. It's
I'm a huge
at some point, I'm sure.
I'm a huge New York hater, so
I'm
happy when
I'm gonna leave that where it is.
Yeah, don't worry. We will not disappoint you with opportunities.
I'm still upset about that series last year. the first round series versus the Pistons. That I think it was game 3 or 4 when Tim Hardaway Jr. got fouled in the corner and they didn't call it.
Call it?
Yeah. But we'll see.
Hey, D-Dot, I was at that Cavs Halliburton game. I was at that game when he hit all those shots and beat us at the end.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard a stadium. I've never heard the life leave a
that was that
stadium
playoff game.
my entire
Yeah.
life. We were all just like, this. We're like, oh my God, like how did this happen? But typical Cleveland. So typical Cleveland.
Well, best of luck to both of y'all. We'll see. We may have to do an episode after this, depending on how it turns out.
Yeah. Going back on the wrestling real quick, I want to say the only reason I know anything about wrestling is because my friend always sends me wrestling content. So he's been sending me a lot of Joe Hendry memes.
Oh yeah.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Keeping up with Joe Hendry stuff, and he also sent me a happy 316 Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Drink a beer that day.
Yeah.
I don't drink, but I thought it was
yeah, me neither actually.
But I always laugh at that. So.
Funny part is not this year, but last year I saw Joe Hendry win the TNA title here in Dallas at TNA Genesis, and that was pretty cool to see. Whole arena just went crazy when they counted 3. And it's kind of cool to see how far Joe Hendry has came since then.
He figured a brand out for sure with the song and everything.
It's catchy. It's catchy. Awesome. Yeah, I don't even really like that kind of music, but it is catchy.
Yeah, he's a smart dude.
Go ahead and give your social media accounts and where can our listeners find your content and music.
I'll let you go first, Soma.
All right. Soma79, pretty much everywhere. You can find me on Instagram there, and then Bandcamp, soma79.bandcamp.com. And then I do have a website, soma79.com, which has a bunch of stuff on it. I was on it the other day. I was surprised how much stuff I had on it. But press kit, you can download a bunch of my tracks. And I'm also do a ton of music videos. I've released a music video every month for the past 14 months, I think. I think this will be the first one that I don't this month. And so check them out at my YouTube page at Soma79.
And I am primarily on Instagram, mostly at Anthony Church Music. And then I'm going to be putting a lot more effort into Bandcamp this year, like from here on out pretty much, which is anthonychurch.bandcamp.com. So like all my instrumental stuff, some of these collab projects will be up there, and that compilation that I'm working on. So yeah, a lot more material coming very soon.
Yeah, go ahead and hit them with a follow. Anthony Church and Soma79. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at d._majormusic. And if you're on X or Twitter, it's going to be d.mme. And if you hung around this long for the entirety of this interview, then consider subscribing. We like to post new artist interviews when we can, sometimes weekly, but when we can. And this has been another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's D. Dot along with Anthony Church and Soma79, and we are out. Counted out many times, but I keep going. Down the main stream, the river keep flowing. Never slowing, it's all gas, no brakes. Spit enough heat to melt a snowflake. More steaks than a shrimp and a snow crab. Kiss a bag like a wide receiver toe tap. Pro black, but that don't mean I'm in a white. Respect if they ride it with us in this fight. The time's right, amazing when you manifest the vision. Barbershop, bit line, razor with precision. Never switching, how we start is how we finish. Popeye gets stronger as I smoke the spinach. I diminish and they body ever doubted me. Kept them at a distance, they rerouted me. Logically they doing less but got the most to say. They on the bench, I'm in the game, making most of play. I'm running marathons, they're running races. Major moves, big business, different places. King of this throne up my sleeve, keeping aces. Major moves, big business, different places. I'm running marathons, they running races. Major moves, big business, different places. King of this throne up my sleeve, keeping aces. Major moves, big business, different places.